Haudenosaunee, and Mississaugas. This land is covered by the Dish with One Spoon Wampat Belt Covenant, which was an agreement between the Haudenosaunee and Anishinaabeg to share and care for the resources around the Great Lakes. We further acknowledge that this land is covered by the Between the Lakes Purchase, 1792, between the Crown and the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. Today, the city of Hamilton is home to many Indigenous people from across Turtle Island, and we recognize that we must do more to learn about the rich history of this land so that we can better understand our roles as residents, neighbors, partners, and caretakers. We stand in solidarity with murdered and missing Indigenous women, girls, transgender, and two-spirit people.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
Is it turned on?
Oh, okay.
Perfect.
Okay.
Oh, I'm on the side.
Good morning, CHS, and welcome to our school's first Asian Heritage Month Assembly and Celebration. My name's Beatrice.
And I'm Mariah.
We are so excited to be here with our school community today to celebrate something that is near and dear to us.
The theme for Asian Heritage Month 2022 is Continuing a Legacy of Greatness. We'd like to take this opportunity to reflect, honor, and celebrate the contributions that the peoples of Asian descent have made, and continue to make it in our school community and throughout Canada. To begin our assembly, we have a very special guest. We'd like to introduce our very first equity officer at the Hamilton Wentworth Catholic District School Board. Please give a warm welcome to Alicia Ralph.
Good morning, everyone. No, good morning? Good morning. Asian Heritage Month is a month to celebrate Asian heritage and Asian excellence. This year's Asian Heritage Month theme is Continuing a Legacy of Greatness. It is also important to acknowledge the past. You see, the history of racism against the Asian community extends past the pandemic. Racism has been foundational in Canada, from the early discriminatory treatment through the head tax and the differential treatment of Chinese railroad workers who risked their lives to build the very infrastructure, dangerous and difficult, which is the Canadian Pacific Railway. This celebration today should only be a highlight. Celebrating and affirming Asian heritage should happen every day. Asian heritage means to be proud, to be able to be your authentic self every day. This starts with ensuring our school environments are inclusive, free from racism and discrimination, and supportive of the diverse population within our school environments. This includes checking your biases and stereotypes about the Asian community. You see, the microaggression of the model minority often erases the continued discrimination faced by Asians at school and within our community. So how can you support Asian colleagues as allies? We can begin by first learning and encouraging others to educate themselves. Individually, we could start by developing our own knowledge of the history, the culture, and the contributions of Asian peoples within our communities, as well as the challenges of racism and discrimination that have surrounded them. We can listen. We can listen to understand and create more intentional spaces. There is no better way to clarify how we can be better allies to our Asian colleagues than by listening to their perspectives and their experiences. We can acknowledge. We can acknowledge our own biases and raise our awareness. We may be aware of our own biases impacting what we say and do in our relationships with our Asian colleagues at school. And we can speak up. We can speak up as an ally. Finally, speaking up is the right way and is an important prerequisite for allyship. Speak up for your Asian colleagues rather than remaining silent when you witness discrimination, barriers, biases against them at school and in the community. Communicate to empower your Asian colleagues. Remember that allyship is rooted in doing rather than being. In other words, to be an ally means we must do. We must do the work that allows us to be recognized as allies by our colleagues that we are striving to be allies for. Happy Asian Heritage Month today and every day.
Thank you so much for your thoughtful words, Alicia. We are so thankful and lucky to have you here and look forward to continuing to work with you on projects concerning equity and inclusion in our greater school community.
The Asian community has made many contributions to the development and prosperity of Canada. In our next segment, please welcome Jeremy, Sa, and Tutu to share their Asian Heritage Moment presentation.
Woo!
Opportunity. Asian Heritage Month is an opportunity to recognize and celebrate the amazing accomplishments and contributions of individuals of Asian heritage who have helped develop Canada, as well as to combat anti-Asian hate and discrimination in all its forms.
Why May? The month of May was chosen to commemorate the immigration of the first Japanese to the United States on May 7, 1843, as well as to mark the anniversary of the completion of the Transcontinental Railroad on May 10, 1869. Did you know that Asia was home to some of the largest empires in history? This included the Mongol Empire and the Qing Dynasty. With the Mongol Empire at its peak, it covered 24 million square kilometers, and the Qing Dynasty 14.7 million. These two Asian empires are in the top 5 largest empires of history. In ancient times, Asians have invented silk, soap, ink, parasols, and kites. Some inventions of a more serious nature also appeared at this time, like writing, irrigation, and map making. These are some of the many amazing things the Asian community have achieved. Indian-American computer architect A.J. Bott made the first USB, a device that acted as great storage and transport of data in the late 1980s. His invention developed a range of computer technology. Without it, Mr. Drabuco would not even have the storage to keep this little PowerPoint.
Now, let's talk about the rich history of Asian Canadians. The first Chinese immigrants arrived on Vancouver Island in 1788 to help build a trading post. Between 1881 and 1885, over 17,000 Chinese immigrants came to Canada to build the Canadian Pacific Railway. This railway played a huge role in the promotion of tourism and immigration to Canada, along with helping Canada's war efforts. Unfortunately, due to harsh work environments and racist discrimination, the construction of the railway led to a lot of debts and unfair treatment. Chinese workers were paid half the money compared to a white man, despite being given more dangerous tasks. This resulted in more than 700 Chinese workers dying, excluding the death workers that were kept.
In the late 19th century, immigration from most of Asia became prominent in Canada. This helped form the multicultural country that Canada is today. Although Asians are a minority in Canada, Asia is comprised of 48 different countries, each with their own unique sets of traditions and cultures. In the next slide, we'll take a look at some of the pictures of festive cultures of Asia.
Discrimination towards Asian Canadians have happened in the past and currently still happening today. Especially since the start of COVID, there has been many reported hate crimes against the Asian community. That is why it is important for us in the time of May to learn about Asian Heritage Month and to support one another so there is no form of prejudice towards any race, especially towards minorities.
That was an incredibly informative, well-researched, and wonderful presentation. Thanks to Jeremy, Sa, and Tutu for providing us with such great knowledge.
Hey, Araya, have you heard people say that racism isn't a problem in Canada? That it's simply an American problem which we don't have to worry about? Well, time to put that notion to the test. Next up, we have a presentation by Kiara, Ava, Josiah, and Peyton on anti-Asian racism and discrimination in Canada.
Canada is known to be a country with tons of snow and nice people. It may be correct to a degree, however, it is not entirely accurate. Canada, just like any other country, has its fair share of problems, and one of the biggest ones being racism, especially anti-Asian racism. In this video, we will be going over the drastic increase of anti-Asian hate in Canada and North America.
You may think that Canadians aren't relatively racist since we welcome so many people from across the globe into our country, and that our population is one of the most diverse. However, you would be mistaken. Anti-Asian hate has recently had a steep increase in popularity due to the pandemic. The results of 2 surveys show that from March 10, 2020 to February 28, 2021, there were 1,100 reported cases of anti-Asian racism in Toronto alone. The most common victims of these incidents were the elderly, teenagers and children, and people who speak poor English. According to Project 1907, Canada had a higher number of reported cases per Asian capita compared to America.
Approximately 60% of these cases consisted of hate speech and verbal assault, while about 30% consisted of physical violence. In 2020, BC had the highest number of reported anti-Asian incidents in North America, Vancouver being the city with the most reports in all of North America. There was a 717% increase in Asian hate from 2019 to 2020, going from 12 to 142 cases, which is about triple the number of reported cases in New York. To put that into perspective, the total population of Canada is over 37 million, BC over 5.2 million, and Vancouver over 660,000. America has a total population of over 331 million. New York City has 8.8 million, and many other locations in the United States house very close to this number. To live in a country with a lesser population but a higher anti-Asian hate crime rate is an issue.
Since the pandemic began, we have seen anti-Asian hate increase immensely day by day. There's been a 42% increase in reports of assaults on Asian Canadians, many of them being reports of being coughed or spat on. A 132% increase of online hate. A 286% increase in reports of racism towards children and adolescents. 66% of these reports were filed by women. About 75% of all mentioned incidents involved white men. Mind you, these are only the cases that were reported. There are many hate crimes that go unreported and unnoticed.
This is just proof that racism is still very real and is as big of a problem as it was many years ago.
As a society, we need to tackle the problem at hand instead of just acting like the problem isn't real.
Taking out rage and frustration on the Asian community doesn't change anything and will only worsen our relationships with one another.
We need to not cause violence and ruin our bonds, but instead we should mend them and appreciate one another for what they bring into our lives.
Wow, those are some staggering facts and statistics which really highlight
history.
how much work needs to be done in Canada. Thank you, Kiara, Ava, Josiah, and Peyton for ensuring that we don't simply dismiss this data and continue to do our part in combating anti-Asian racism, hate, and discrimination.
As our theme for Asian Heritage Month is continuing a legacy of greatness, our next video by Lisa and Araya will highlight the accomplishments of some notable members of the Asian community.
Over the course of history, Asians have contributed in small and great ways. Some have changed social norms, science, film, and sports. Others may go on to change even more. Lin Dan is known as the best Chinese badminton player of all time at only 28 years old. He is called Super Dan after winning the All-England final. Dr. Jian Xiangwu is an Asian-American nuclear physicist who made significant contributions to nuclear physics and beta decay. She is known as the First Lady of Physics. Adrienne Clarkson is an Asian-Canadian Governor-General who is called the Grandmother of Nations. She became Governor-General in 1999 and established the Governor-General's Northern Medal. Ajay Bhatt is an Indian-American architect and computer engineer, known as the inventor of the USB and other technological advancements. Sandra Oh is a Korean-Canadian actress and producer. She is known around the world for many acclaimed roles, and she is the first actress with Asian heritage to be nominated for a Primetime Emmy 12 times.
BTS, also known as the Bangtan Boys, is a South Korean boy band that was formed in 2012 and debuted in 2013. The group consists of 7 members: RM, Jin, Suga, J-Hope, Jimin, V, and Jungkook. With over 460 awards won, BTS continues to top music charts. Some of their hit songs include Boy With Love, Life Goes On, Dynamite, Butter, Permission to Dance, and many more. BTS was the first K-pop group to present at the Grammy Awards and first all-South Korean act to reach #1 on Billboard music charts. Park Jae-sung, professionally known as Psy, is a South Korean singer, rapper, songwriter, and record producer. Psy is internationally known for his hit single, Gangnam Style. On December 21, 2012, his music video exceeded 1 billion views on YouTube and became the first video to do so. Since then, his music continues to gain views and he creates humorous content. He also found his own agency called P Nation. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings was released on September 2, 2021, and follows a martial arts master, Shang-Chi, who confronts the past he thought he left behind when he's drawn into the web of the mysterious Ten Rings organization. The movie features actors Simu Liu, Awkwafina, Benedict Wong, Fa Shen, Michelle Yeoh, and many others. The film received numerous awards and nominations. The music soundtrack features many Asian artists such as Keshi, Nicki, Bibi, Mark Tuan, DPR Live, DPR Ian, amongst many more. Manga are comics or graphic novels originating from Japan. Anime is often known as the show version of manga and is an art style or animation originating from Japan as well. Naruto was written and illustrated by Masashi Kishimoto. With 72 volumes, Naruto is one of the best-selling manga series with over 250 million copies around the world. Sailor Moon was illustrated and written by Naoko Takeuchi. The franchise has generated $13 billion in worldwide sales. Last but not least, Attack on Titan, written and illustrated by Hajime Isayama, is an anime on the rise. With 34 manga volumes and 86 episodes aired, Attack on Titan secured 4 wins at the Crunchyroll Anime Awards.
And of course, let's not forget the most accomplished, commendable, and honored Asians not on this list. The ones at Cathedral right now. The ones at Cathedral right now.
Thank you, Lisa and Araya, on an outstanding presentation highlighting some incredible and profound contributions from members of the Asian community.
Speaking of the members of the Asian community, how about members of the Asian community here at our own school? Our next segment has been crafted by Karel, Isabella, Jadena, and Beatrice to give us more insight into our Asian community at CHS.
What part of Asia are you and your family from?
I'm from Vietnam.
I'm from Vietnam.
My name is Mr. U, and I'm Vietnamese.
I'm Vietnamese.
I'm from Vietnam.
And Vietnam.
I'm from Vietnam.
I'm from China.
Chinese.
I'm South Korean.
I'm from Korea.
I'm from Goa in India.
India.
Hi, I'm Ava Rhea, and I am half Indian.
Cambodia.
Pakistan.
I am from Pakistan, proud to be Pakistani.
I'm from Thailand.
I'm from Thailand.
I'm from Myanmar. I'm from Iraq.
I'm Syrian.
Hi, my name is Manal and I'm from Syria.
I'm Sri Lankan.
I'm from Indonesia.
I'm from the Philippines.
I'm Filipino.
I'm from the Philippines. The Philippines.
I'm from the Philippines.
The Philippines.
I'm from the Philippines.
The Philippines.
I am half Filipino.
We're from the Philippines.
Filipinos represent. What an amazing job, Corel, Isabella, Jadena, and Beatrice. It is so wonderful and inspiring to see our Asian community here at CHS represented and celebrated. We are so proud to be part of such a rich community.
Speaking of representation, get ready for our next segment. It is time for the catwalk. Mr. D'Souza, where are you at?
Woo!
For this next segment, please feel free to take a bunch of photos and snap some photos.
And if you have a flash, make sure to turn that baby on.
Please give a warm welcome to Omalade and Jessica, who will be providing commentary for our Asian Heritage Fashion Show. Woo!
Did you guys want these? No.
Thank you. Okay. Welcome to our first annual Asian Heritage Month Fashion Show. My name is Omalade George.
And this is Jessica Obima.
And we'll be your MCs for today's fashion show.
Asia is a large continent full of diverse cultures and traditions. Part of the cultures and traditions include traditional attires. Today, we will see some of our fellow classmates, teachers, and administrators showcase some traditional attires from our Asian History Month.
Let's kick off our fashion show by welcoming our first model, Jadena D'Souza, representing Pakistan. The garment Jadena is wearing is called a lehenga. Lehenga is usually worn for special celebrations such as weddings.
Looking great, Jadena. Next up, we have Hani Hoang and Maria Nguyen. Hani is representing Vietnam. The garment she's wearing is called Hao Yai. Hao Yai is typically worn for special celebrations such as Lunar New Year, weddings, or graduation ceremonies.
Let's hear it for Hani and Maria. Please welcome our next model to the stage, allyship Manahil, representing Pakistan. Allyship is wearing a sharara and frock, which is typically worn for small celebrations or religious events.
What a beautiful outfit, Alishba. Next up, we have Atiya Naheem, also representing Pakistan. Atiya is wearing a sharara, which is typically worn for special celebrations such as wedding, parties, and Eid.
Wow, looking great, Atiya. Next on the stage is Lisha Shen, representing China. Lisa is wearing a chipao. A chipao is typically worn for special occasions such as birthdays and other parties and celebrations.
What a gorgeous chipao, Lisa. Next, we have Adiba Naeem, representing Pakistan. Adiba is wearing a shalwar kameez, which is usually worn for celebrations or religious events in her culture.
So beautiful, Adiba. Up next, we have Princess Bibara, representing Sri Lanka. Typically worn for for special celebrations such as parties, weddings, and religious ceremonies.
What a beautiful frog princess. Next, we have Tutu representing the Kautule. Kautule is a current state and the Karini people have sought to establish in Burma.
Second.
She's wearing a Kautule. Kautule is the Karen state and the Karini people have sought to establish in Burma, which is now called Myanmar. The Karini people have sought to establish Kautule as a Karini state since the beginning of the ongoing civil war between Burmese and the Karini people, which began in the 1940s. Tutu is wearing a shikanya, which is typically worn for church, famine, and ceremonies.
Looking good, Tutu. Our next model representing the Philippines is Dennis Elurig. Dennis is wearing a baron, which is usually worn for weddings and other ceremonies.
Let's hear it for Dennis, everyone. Next, we have our very own teacher, Miss Pinto, representing India. Miss Pinto is wearing a lenga, which is usually worn for special occasions, such as weddings.
You're looking great, Miss Pinto. Up next, we have Chloe Somi. Chloe is representing South Korea. My bad, that was Abdullah Nahim representing Pakistan. Abdullah is wearing a shalwar kameez, which is typically worn for small celebrations or religious events.
Looking great, Abdul. We have Chloe Somini. Chloe is wearing a South Korean, which is South Korea. She is wearing a handbook. A handbook is usually worn for tea ceremonies, traditional festivals, and weddings.
Let's hear it for Chloe, everyone. Next up, we have Valentina Parimalakanten, representing Sri Lanka. Valentina is wearing a sari. Sari is typically worn for parties, weddings, and religious ceremonies.
Looking great, Valentina. Next up, we have our very own Vice Principal, Mr. John, representing Pakistan.
Okay, buddy. Oh my God, Mr. John is looking so wonderful. Mr. John is wearing a kurta. Kurta is typically worn for special weddings Kurta is typically worn for special celebrations such as weddings.
What a gorgeous outfit, Mr. John. Next, we have Miriam. Representing Pakistan, she is wearing a frock, which is usually worn for important celebrations such as Eid.
What a gorgeous frock, Miriam. Finally, we have Sermu Reini representing Kausule. Is wearing a shinkinya, which is typically worn for church and special events.
Let's hear it for our beautiful models, everyone. Omalade, have you seen such beautiful clothing?
No, Jessica, I have never seen such beautiful clothing before. It has been so amazing seeing the pride of our Asian students and staff as they showed off their traditional attires on the stage today.
If you didn't see your country represented on the stage today, remember that the world is your stage, and you should be proud of your traditional attire and other aspects of your culture, not only during Asian History Month, but all year long.
Cultures can show our differences, but at the same time, our culture brings us together. Let's hear it one more time for our models.
Oh my God, did they not look stunning? Didn't they look amazing?
They did.
Right? Canada's next top models, I think so.
I think so.
Yep. What an incredible privilege it was to see so many members of our Asian community celebrating and representing their heritage. Thanks so much to Omalade and Jessica for providing us with insight and explaining the significance of the traditional clothing of our Asian community.
Next year, Beatrice, we need to make sure Ms. Carabas, Mr. D'Souza, and Mr. Wu get on the catwalk.
Yep.
Let's hear some applause if you agree.
Woo!
Next up, we have a PSA that was written in response to the increasing anti-Asian racism and violence during the global pandemic.
We have never been a loud people. Our elders always taught us that actions speak louder than words, so we learn to keep our heads down, keep our grades up, keep our kin close, keep our mouths shut. I wonder, what it does to a people when they stay quiet for so long. Do they forget their voice? The sound of their stories, the resilience of language? When you are no longer in your motherland, does your mother tongue still sing of home? What work songs lifted our spirits as we built the railroad? What prayers did we whisper as they sent us to camps in the mountains to meditate on all the ways we don't belong to this country? So we stayed quiet. As they burned our Chinatowns down and spit on our grandmas at bus stops, we stayed quiet. As they laughed in our faces and told us to go back where we came from, but they've mistaken our silence for compliance. Looked on our meekness as weakness. See, we, and not the submissive stereotype that's been depicted on silence, on us, they've gotten it twisted. See, silence is golden, as are we. A gradient of yellow to brown, every Koreatown a little Saigon, an act of defiance. Every hunchbacked elder a humble giant. Silence is grace in the triumph, is peace in the riot. Silence is bold, a force. It is the brewing calm before the coming storm, and now the sky is splitting open and the rage is pouring forth, so this is for every kid who has ever tried to pull their nose bridge to make it taller. Every time they mocked us because our eyes are smaller. This is for our elders, both alive and remembered, for their lessons, the tough and the tender. For our full names, past and present, may they be pronounced, may they be respected. For every chink in the national fabric, every nip in the winter wind of prairie towns and northern hamlets, coast to coast on stolen land. We are here. We've been here. From takeout joints and internment camps to internships and graduation caps, we are strong. We have pride. We fight. We fall. We rise. And to the ones who say we don't belong, it's them who should open their eyes.
Sometimes I'm right, and sometimes I'm right, and I can be wrong. My own beliefs are in my songs. Butcher, the baker, the drummer, and then makes no difference what group I'm in.
Well, sometimes I'm right, and I can be wrong. My own beliefs are in my song. The butcher, the banker, the drummer, and then it makes no difference what group I'm in. 'Cause I am everyday people.
There is a blue one that can't accept the green one, for living with the fat one, trying to be a skinny one. Different strokes for different folks, and so on and so on. And Scooby-Dooby-Dooby-Doo, sha-sha. We got to live together.
I am no better, and neither are you. We are the same, whatever we do. You love me, you hate me, you know me, and then still can't figure out the bag I'm in. 'Cause I
And everyday people. There is a long hair that doesn't like the short hair, for being such a rich one that will not help the poor one. Different strokes for different folks, and so on and so on. And Scooby-Dooby-Doo, sha-sha. We got to live together. There is a yellow one that won't accept the black one, that won't accept the red one, that won't accept the white one. Different strokes for different folks, and so on and so on. And Scooby-Dooby-Doo, sha-sha. I am everyday people.
That was an incredibly powerful video, which really highlights the challenges that Asian community has faced since the beginning of the pandemic. Let's continue to do our part as a community to help support one another in building a more equitable environment here at CHS and beyond.
Here, now let's hear a story from our own Cathedral student. Growing up in a Filipino household and around Filipino friends and family is something I'll always be thankful for. Sometimes I find myself reminiscing about the times when my lola, or grandma in English, would walk me to school in the Philippines, or times where I would go to the beach and see hundreds of different sea species. I'm so thankful to be able to grow up around other Filipino people where others are not able to grow up around their own culture and definitely lose it. I wouldn't want to say lose it in a way, but not as close to it as they should be. Do we keep stalling? Let's keep our performances going here. Does anyone here know what the Bhangra is? No? Okay. Bhangra dancing originated as a folk dance to celebrate the harvest. Over time, many forms and variations of Bhangra dancing have emerged and have since been widely used from Bollywood films to weddings and birthday celebrations in some South Asian traditions. Led by Ms. Pinto, please welcome Jadina, Siam, Abdullah, and Lisa.
ਨੀਵੀਆਂ ਤੂੰ ਕੁਝ ਚਿਰ ਪਾ ਕੇ ਰੱਖ ਲੈ ਪੱਲੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਮੁਖੜਾ ਲੁਕਾ ਕੇ ਰੱਖ ਲੈ ਨੀਵੀਆਂ ਤੂੰ ਕੁਝ ਚਿਰ ਪਾ ਕੇ ਰੱਖ ਲੈ ਪੱਲੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਮੁਖੜਾ ਲੁਕਾ ਕੇ ਰੱਖ ਲੈ ਐਵੇਂ ਕਰੀ ਨਾ ਕਿਸੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਪਿਆਰ ਮੁੰਡਿਆਂ ਤੋਂ ਬਚ ਕੇ ਰਹੀ ਨੀ ਤੂੰ ਹੁਣੇ ਹੁਣੇ ਹੋਈ ਮੁਟਿਆਰ ਮੁੰਡਿਆਂ ਤੋਂ ਬਚ ਕੇ ਰਹੀ ਨੀ ਤੂੰ ਹੁਣੇ ਹੁਣੇ ਹੋਈ ਮੁਟਿਆਰ ਮੁੰਡਿਆਂ ਤੋਂ ਬਚ ਕੇ ਰਹੀ ਤੇਰਾ ਕੀ ਕਸੂਰ ਜੇ ਨਸ਼ੀਲੇ ਨੈਣ ਹੋ ਗਏ ਸਿੱਖ ਕੇ ਅਦਾਮਾ ਸ਼ਰਮੀਲੇ ਨੈਣ ਹੋ ਗਏ ਤੇਰਾ ਕੀ ਕਸੂਰ ਜੇ ਨਸ਼ੀਲੇ ਨੈਣ ਹੋ ਗਏ ਸਿੱਖ ਕੇ ਅਦਾਮਾ ਸ਼ਰਮੀਲੇ ਨੈਣ ਹੋ ਗਏ ਸਾਂਭ ਕੇ ਰੱਖਣੀ ਏ ਜੋਬ ਨੀ ਪਟਾਰੀ ਸਾਂਭ ਕੇ ਰੱਖਣੀ ਏ ਜੋਬ ਨੀ ਪਟਾਰੀ ਮੁੜ ਮੁੜ ਕੇ ਨੀ ਆਉਣੀ ਏ ਬਹਾਰ ਮੁੰਡਿਆਂ ਤੋਂ ਬਚ ਕੇ ਰਹੀ ਨੀ ਤੂੰ ਹੁਣੇ ਹੁਣੇ ਹੋਈ ਮੁਟਿਆਰ ਮੁੰਡਿਆਂ ਤੋਂ ਬਚ ਕੇ ਰਹੀ ਨੀ ਤੂੰ ਹੁਣੇ ਹੁਣੇ ਹੋਈ ਮੁਟਿਆਰ ਮੁੰਡਿਆਂ ਤੋਂ ਬਚ ਕੇ ਰਹੀ
Wow, what an outstanding and wonderful performance. Thank you, Ms. Pinto, Jadena, Siam, Abdullah, and Lisa for sharing that Bhangra with us. And how about the cameo from Mr. John?
For our finale, we have a solo from the dance machine himself, Mr. D'Souza. Oh, wait, so sorry. That was a typo. Led by Madame Carabas, please welcome our very own Cathedral Step Squad.
Black paint in your area. Black paint in your area. Ain't a bad girl, I know I am. And I'm so hot, I need a fan. I don't wanna butt, I need a man. Click, clack, bada bing, bada boom. With the rock, chop me with the knife, bada boom. Yes, sir, you're the guy that don't. With the nut that they call, pick up, pop, pop, pop. Rock, pop, bada, bada, pop, pop, pop. You can now be a truck, better ta, ta, ta. Hands up, mess on the bottom full of honey. Nigga, mine, I'm a nut, nigga, naya. Jenny.
Oh my God, that was so good! Let's hear it one more time for Step Squad! That was an amazing and dynamic performance by our very own Step Squad. What an incredible energy and athleticism and team effort. Well done. Let's hear it again for our Step Squad and Madame Carabas!
Next up, we have Mr. D'Souza and Mr. Wu doing the robot dance. Fun fact, when they're not busy dancing, they're hard at work at coordinating outfits, such as me and Beatrice. Woo! All of you in your uniform and Step Squad in pink. We'll skip that part though. Here they are to share a reflection and their thoughts.
Today, we were blessed to celebrate the rich diversity that makes up Asian culture. Although we've only touched on a few areas of such a vast culture, we hope this will inspire you to keep your eyes, ears, and hearts open to people from all areas of the world and all walks of life. Acceptance is the key to keeping humanity together and making a better world. On this note, our assembly has run parallel to world events that have shown us just how far we need to go. From the mass shootings in Buffalo, California, and most recently Texas, there has never been a more dire need for change.
This assembly is not just about appreciating other cultures. It is about helping to create a safe and equitable space for the marginalized in our school community and beyond. A world where people can go grocery shopping. A world where people can practice their faith and cultural practices regardless of where it fits in with most of society. A world where innocent children can go to school. Remember, the things that we do, the things that we dismiss, the actions that we allow, and the tough decisions that we refuse to make are a reflection of who we are and what we stand for. To effect meaningful change, we need to move beyond outdated ideals towards a more equitable future. In the words of Mahatma Gandhi, if you want to change the world, start with yourself.
As we bring our assembly to a close, we want to acknowledge that meaningful change does not happen without effort of an entire community. We would like to give a bit of a shout out to the Asian Heritage Committee, Madame Carabas, Ms. Craig, Mr. D'Souza, Ms. Jackchi, Mr. John, Mr. McMillan, Ms. Pinto, Madame Silvestri, Mr. Trabuco, Mr. Varghese, and Mr. Wu. Thank you so much for your time, support, and commitment to a project that amplifies the voices and experiences of our Asian community here at CHS.
We would also like to thank our Equity Officer, Alicia Ralph, Mr. Daly, Ms. Scroppo, and Ms. Defendionico for our continued support. Lastly, we would like to thank our CHS community in attendance in the forum and virtually in your classrooms. Thanks so much for your attention and support. Our theme for Asian Heritage Month is a legacy of greatness. We hope our efforts today have given you some insight into the courage, challenges, and incredible resilience of the Asian community.
Did you know that the Philippines is the largest immigrant group at CHS? Although it is the largest immigrant group, let's not forget about the many other Asian ethnicities at our school, including Afghanistan, Pakistan, Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Yemen, India, Sri Lanka, Thailand, Vietnam, and more. Diverse representation and recognition is so important to the Asian community, so we're not unrealistically stereotyped. Let's continue to move forward and celebrate Asian heritage not only in the month of May, but throughout the whole year.
Asian Heritage Month is not only a time to celebrate Asia's strong diversity, but it is also a time to learn about the honor Asian heritage. It's a time to reflect on the contributions that Asian immigrants have made to Canadian society and on the prejudice that they face today. Because of their ethnic and national origins, Asians are subject to many stereotypes that over the recent years have gotten them attacked and killed. Strong and positive representation is a foundation of breaking down such stereotypes and ending racism. It takes all of us to put an end to such inexcusable acts. Together, let's continue to support, to sympathize, and to stand with the Asian communities all around the world.
We would like to call up all the members of the Asian Heritage Month Committee and all of our students and staff who helped make this possible.
Thank you to everyone and have a great day, Gales.